Jayom Vishnu Bhara Paramahamsa Parivrajakajarya Srimad Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayom Vishnu Bhara Paramahamsa Parivrajakajarya Stotara Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur. Krishna Chaitanya. Prabhu Nityananda. Srinda Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna. Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath. Puri Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Navadeep Dham Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Samveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namah Om Vishnu Bhara Aya Krishna Prashnaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharani Hare Krishna. Good evening, devotees. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for being here. I got the good fortune of hosting Prachi Devi Dasi just a few days ago. That was so nice. It was so nice having you and your good husband at our little house, Prachi. Thank you for coming. And nice to see you here, Kishwani. Santrupti, Hare Krishna. And of course, Hare Krishna. And of course, our dear Shraddha and our dear Sri Lekha right here also. So tonight, what? Tonight, we're going to read text 28. We're still in Canto 4, Chapter 4. But we skipped a few verses, and we're going to read text 28. So 4, 4, 28. Canto 4, Chapter 4, text 28. I will read the Sanskrit, and then we can go through the word-for-word synonyms together, call response style. Then I will read the translation, and then everyone will repeat. And then I will read the purport, and then we'll go back over the purport and discuss it. And we're also going to, if we have time, we're going to go back to Canto 4, Chapter 4, text 8 and 9. These are both very important verses and purports that we should all study. So let's start out with number 28. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Please repeat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. Pashyatam Vichad Mahad Haheti Vadaha Sumahan Ajayata Hanta Priya Devatamasya Devi Jahav Asunkena Sati Prakopita. Tat, please repeat that. Pashyatam, of those who had seen, K, in the sky, Bhuvi, on the earth, Cha, and Adbhutam, wonderful, Mahat, great, Ha, ha, oh, oh, Iti, thus, Vadaha, roar, Sumahan, tumultuous, Ajayata, occurred, Hanta, alas, Priya, the beloved, Deva Tamasya, of the most respectable demigod, Lord Shiva, Devi, Sati, Jaho, quit, Asun, her life, Kena, by Daksha, Sati, Sati, Prakopita, angered. Translation: when Sati annihilated her body in anger, there was a tumultuous roar all over the universe. Why had Sati, the wife of the most respectable demigod, Lord Shiva, quit her body in such a manner? Please repeat. When Sati annihilated her body in anger, there was a tumultuous roar all over the universe. Why had Sati, the wife of the most respectable demigod, Lord Shiva, quit her body in such a manner? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. There was a tumultuous roaring all over the universe in the societies of the demigods of different planets, because Sati was the daughter of Daksha, the greatest of all kings, and the wife of Lord Shiva, the greatest of all demigods. Why did she become so angry that she gave up her body? Since she was the daughter of a great personality and the wife of a great personality, she had nothing to desire, but still she gave up her body in dissatisfaction. Certainly, this was astonishing. One cannot attain complete satisfaction even if one is situated in the greatest material opulence. There was nothing Sati could not achieve, either from her relationship with her father or from her relationship with the greatest of the demigods. But still, for some reason, she was dissatisfied. Therefore, Srimad Bhagvatam 1-2-6 explains that one has to achieve real satisfaction, yayatma suprasidati, but atma, the body, mind, and soul, all become completely satisfied only if one develops devotional service to the absolute truth. Savai pumsang paro dharmo yato bhaktir adhokshaje. Adhokshaja means the absolute truth. If one can develop his unflinching love for the transcendental supreme personality of Godhead, that can give complete satisfaction. Otherwise, there is no possibility of satisfaction in the material world or anywhere else. Oma Gyanatimmirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langahite Girim Yat Kripata Mahang Vande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. When Sati annihilated her body in anger, there was a tumultuous roar all over the universe. Why had Sati, the wife of the most respectable demigod, Lord Shiva, quit her body in such a manner? So let's go through the purport again. There was a tumultuous roaring all over the universe in the societies of the demigods of different planets, because Sati was the daughter of Daksha, the greatest of all kings, and the wife of Lord Shiva, the greatest of all demigods. So who can think of another time when there was a tumultuous roar all over the universe? I'll give you 5 seconds to unmute yourself and answer. Who can think of 2 instances, or if you could just think of one time when there was a tumultuous roar all over the universe? Okay, time's up. Can somebody say?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
How do
Prachi.
Is it Prachi?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, so what example did you think of?
Narsingadev, when he appeared to kill Hiranyakashipu.
Very good. Very, very
One
good.
more is Lord Shiva, when he saw that Sati has left her body. After that, I guess he also did roaring. I'm not sure.
Very good. Very good. Very good. I didn't think of that one. I was thinking of another one. Can anyone think of one more? Okay, time's up. Who else? Anybody? Lord Varaha. When Sri Varahadev appeared, there was a tumultuous roaring all over the universe, and it gave the demons great fear, but it gave the devotees great joy. So, sweet times. Okay, so why did she become so angry that she gave up her body? Since she was the daughter of a great personality and a wife of a great personality, she had she had nothing to desire, but still she gave up her body in dissatisfaction. So just a little while ago, my husband said to me, "So Davy, do you need anything from the store?" So I gave him a little list. I needed some yogurt, I needed some milk, I needed some potatoes and some capsicum. So then he went to the store and he bought everything I wanted and came back home. And he said, "So now, Davy, are you happy?" And I said, "Yes, thank you." He said, "It's hard keeping you women happy." So I thought of Sati, and when I read this purport, I thought of how it's true, you know, sometimes men say that it's impossible to keep a woman satisfied. Women are always dissatisfied. Has anyone else ever heard that? I've read that somewhere. But it's my personal experience that I am never satisfied. I'm always finding fault and criticizing in my mind. It's a very bad habit, but it's the way it is. So Sati was not satisfied, even though she was the daughter of a great king and she was the wife of the greatest Vaishnava. So certainly this was astonishing. One cannot attain complete satisfaction even if one is situated in the greatest material opulence. Just see, that's the way it is here in the material world, that no matter how much wealth you have, you're never satisfied. Srila Prabhupada said in a lecture, he said, a person has $1 million, he's thinking, "Oh, I am not happy. If I just had $10 million, I would be happy." And a person who has $10 million, he's not happy. He's thinking, if I had $100 million, I would be happy. But they're never going to be happy by material acquisition. The only thing that's going to make them happy is if they become pure devotees of the Supreme Lord. So just in case somebody has a phone handy where they could look up Srimad Bhagvatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 6, please do that, okay? 126, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 6. Please look that up. Okay, so back to the purport. I'm going to repeat this sentence because it's really important. One cannot attain complete satisfaction even if one is situated in the greatest material opulence. There was nothing Sati could not achieve, either from her relationship with her father or from her relationship with the greatest of the demigods. But still, for some reason, she was dissatisfied. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam 126 explains that one has to achieve real satisfaction, yayatma suprasidati. Okay, so did somebody look that up? Please unmute yourself and kindly read the translation to us.
The supreme occupation, dharma, for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self.
Okay, well, there's the answer. Thank you, Shraddha. There's the answer. That unmotivated, uninterrupted devotional service to the Supreme Lord is the only way that we can attain complete satisfaction. So Srila Prabhupada knows that. He knew that, and that's why he preached it constantly over and over and over again throughout all his books and all his lectures. He kept on emphasizing this point time and time again. Okay, so thank you again, Shraddha. But Atma, the body, mind, and soul, all become completely satisfied only if one develops devotional service to the absolute truth. Savai pumsang paro dharma yato bhaktir adhokshate. Adhokshata means the absolute truth. If one can develop his unflinching love for the transcendental Supreme Personality of Godhead, that can give complete satisfaction. Otherwise, there is no possibility of satisfaction in the material world or anywhere else. So just see how Srila Prabhupada treated this topic so in such a universal way that he gave the ultimate answer to Sati's dissatisfaction and to our dissatisfaction. Okay, so let's go back to Canto 4, Chapter 4, Text 8. So Sati has just arrived at the sacrificial arena of her father, and now her mother and sisters have just received her with tears in their eyes and smiles on their faces, with sweet words and with presents, gifts. But what does Sati do? She ignores their sweet reception because she has noticed that there are no oblations for Lord Shiva in this sacrifice. And she starts boiling on the inside. She has no taste now for any frivolous association in the company of her female family members. Now she just wants to burn her father alive with her vision because he has offended her husband, who is the greatest demigod and the greatest Vaishnava. Okay, so let's read text 8. Although she was received by her sisters and mother, she did not reply to their words of reception. And although she was offered a seat and presents, she did not accept anything, for her father neither talked with her nor welcomed her by asking about her welfare. So he was so cruel and unkind to Sati. Why? She was his pet. She was the baby of the family. And she was very dear to her father. But when she chose Lord Shiva as her husband, Daksha turned against her. So let's read the purport. Sati did not accept the greetings offered by her sisters and mother, for she was not at all satisfied by her father's silence. Sati was the youngest child of Daksha, and she knew that she was his pet. But now, because of her association with Lord Shiva, Daksha forgot all his affection for his daughter, and this very much aggrieved her. The material bodily conception is so polluted that even upon slight provocation, all our relationships of so-called, Prabhupada doesn't say so-called here, He says, all our relationships of love and affection are nullified. But in many places, Srila Prabhupada uses the adjective so-called. Why? Because love in this material world is not real love. It's not true love. Real love is possible only with Krishna. Continuing the purport, bodily relationships are so transient that even though one is affectionate towards someone in a bodily relationship, a slight provocation terminates this intimacy. So we've probably noticed, any of us who do not have an ideal Cinderella Prince Charming marriage, we might have been in a fight or two with our husband, and we might have noticed how our affection for him decreased because of anger. So that can happen. Therefore, that's why people say you have to work at marriage. You have to work hard to stay married. It takes work. And that work consists of communication, sacrifice, service, and so many of the aspects of marriage. Okay, so now let's read text 9. Present in the arena of sacrifice, Sati saw that there were no oblations for her husband, Lord Shiva. Next, she realized that not only had her father failed to invite Lord Shiva, but when he saw Lord Shiva's exalted wife, Daksha did not receive her either. Thus, she became greatly angry, so much so that she looked at her father as if she were going to burn him with her eyes. Purport. By offering oblations in the fire while chanting the Vedic mantra Swaha, one offers respects to all the demigods, great sages, and pitas, including Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Lord Vishnu. It is customary that Shiva is one of those who are offered respects. But Sati, while personally present in the arena, saw that the Brahmanas did not utter the mantra offering oblations to Lord Shiva. Namaha Shivaya Swaha. She was not sorry for herself, for she was ready to come to her father's house without being invited. But she wanted to see whether or not her husband was being respected. To see her relatives, her sisters and mother, was not so important. Even when she was received by her mother and sisters, she did not care, for she was most concerned that her husband was being insulted in the sacrifice. When she marked the insult, she became greatly angry, and she looked at her father so angrily that Daksha appeared to burn in her vision. What's another example of someone burning another person with their vision? I'll count to 5.
Mataji, Lord Shiva burnt Kamadeva.
Oh, very good.
Stupid.
That's a good example. Another one, anyone? This is in the Krishna book, the one I'm thinking of. Okay, there was a
Mataji,
huge,
Kalyavan.
what? Who's thinking? Who thought of it? Yes, Santrupti.
Narad Muni said because of that curse, Kalyavan was burnt by um,
Burnt.
Angiram,
Muju-
Angiram
Yes,
Muchukunda Muni.
that's correct, Santrupti. Very good. That was the one that I was thinking of. And what was the one you just thought of? Who was who was that that was just showing? Rati Priya? Did you think of another example?
Yeah, Mataji, one Rishi was sleeping and Krishna with the demon, one Asur was chasing Krishna and Krishna put his cloth, his robe on that Rishi and that Rishi burnt that Asur.
Wow.
I don't
Okay,
remember exactly.
that was very good. Very good. And there's one more example, but the person didn't get burnt. He got turned into iron. Most of his body got turned into iron by the other person's eyes. Who was that? Who can think of that?
The Gandhari, before the war, she called Duryodhana to her room and she thought of giving him the power that his body will become like iron, so nobody will be able to overcome him. But
Yes.
she had asked him to come without wearing any clothes, but Krishna somehow convinced him to wear a, a lower cloth. So, except that part, his body turned into iron.
Yes, very good. Very, very good. Okay, so now Indira Saki is going to be giving a class or a discussion, something on ISKCON TV at 8 o'clock. So I want to end a little bit before she starts. So let's go ahead and go over to our Fascinating Womanhood book and let's go over the chapter that we studied this last week, okay? In this book, it's on page 108. 108. Masculine and feminine roles. So the man's role is defined as guide, protector, and provider. And the woman's role is defined as wife, mother, and homemaker. So are they different or are they the same? They're different. The masculine and feminine roles are of divine origin. It's Krishna's transcendental plan to create a system of division within human society so that everything can run smoothly, everything can operate smoothly. Human society can function peacefully and harmoniously. So yeah, Helen Andelin understood that as well. She understood that God has created the duties for men and the duties for women. She quotes the Bible and we quote the Srimad Bhagvatam. So the man is the protector because we can see why he's given the duty of being the protector because he has stronger muscles, he has greater physical endurance, and he has manly courage. He's also supposed to earn the living. Okay, now the woman is given a different assignment. In the Bible, it says she is to be the helpmeet of her husband. That means she is his assistant. And she's the mother of his children, and she's the homemaker. She keeps the house clean and orderly and organized nicely. In the Srimad Bhagvatam, it says that she collects the household paraphernalia, means she keeps the supplies, she keeps the things supplied that she needs in order to run the household properly. So she is also understanding. She offers encouragement. She offers support and sometimes help. She is unquestionably supposed to be a mother. If there's any question in our mind or in our husband's mind, then this was explained in Manusmriti, that men are meant to become fathers and women are meant to become mothers. It's a very simple sentence, but very succinct. The woman's homemaking role is assumed. She must nurture her young and run the household to free her husband to function as the provider. We see nowadays there's a contamination from Kali Yuga has entered into families. And in many cases, when the girl comes into the family through marriage, she is pressured to go out and work. Sometimes she's pressured by her in-laws. They're expecting her to be a source of income for the household. This is not correct according to Shastra. Srila Prabhupada said one time that if the wife has to go out and work, it is a great embarrassment. So what does he mean? It's not only an embarrassment for her, but it's an embarrassment for the husband, because what that does by the woman going out and working and making money, it creates a bad image, an image of weakness on the part of her husband. So a husband, he should be responsible entirely for bringing in the income. It's okay for the wife to work as long as she is near to the husband, close to the husband, and if it's his idea, if it's his plan that she should work to help him or assist him in his business, like Sri Lekha Mataji does. She works in her husband's business. She has quite a responsible position. And if needs be, she could actually probably take over the company, but she maintains a position of servitude toward her husband as his assistant. So that's okay, because she's still protected But when a woman goes out and works in a different place away from her husband, where there are other men, that is very dangerous, because women can become easily seduced by other men other than their husband, especially if she and her husband are going through a rough spot in their marriage. It would be very easy for her to become lured into a relationship with someone else. So we have to be very, very careful to protect our chastity. And the best way is by remaining at home and letting our husband go out and be the provider. Either he can grow his own food for his family, or he can earn money and buy the food. But either way, he should be the provider for his family. The masculine and feminine roles are different in function, but equal in importance. In Henry Bowman's book, Marriage for Moderns, he compares the partnership of marriage to a lock and a key, which join together to form a functioning unit. Together, they can accomplish something that neither acting alone can accomplish. Nor can it be accomplished by two locks or two keys. So that's giving a comparison to how the duties for the man are different from the duties for the women. They're not the same. Each is distinct, yet neither is complete in and of itself. A key by itself, what can a key do by itself? A lock by itself, what can a lock do by itself? But when they're together and they work together, then they can be effective. Okay, there's a couple interesting paragraphs down at the bottom of page 109. Part of the study, she's talking about a study that took place in the 1970s. Part of the study took place in hippie communes, which had begun earlier in the 60s. These idealistic groups were not based on a division of labor, but on equality. So they're trying to figure out the best system for people to work together in groups, especially to get along with one another without contention. So they did a study. Men and women shared equally in all daily chores. Women worked side by side with men in the fields or building shelters. The men shared household chores and care of the children. The interesting discovery was this. They found that equality didn't fit masculine and feminine differences. Women were better at some jobs and men at others. Women's hands, more delicately formed, were better for mending and sewing on buttons. Men were more capable of hauling and shoveling. The more significant discovery, however, was that when they shared work equally, they didn't get along with one another. There was contention, frequent hostility, and even hatred. Such dissension caused whole communities, whole communes to fall apart. The conclusion of the research was that the best way to work in groups is by a division of labor. So our family is a group, And a couple is a type of a group as well. So a couple, when we work together, but we work in our own duties, just like in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that it's better to perform your own duty, even if imperfectly performed, rather than perform someone else's duty, even if you do it perfectly. So he said that in relation to Arjuna wanting to give up his fighting in the battle of Kurukshetra and just become a sannyasi and beg. That wasn't what Arjuna was supposed to do because he was a Kshatriya. So our husbands, they may sometimes be tempted to give up their duties and just stay at home and play computer games, but that's not what they're called to do. And we may feel sometimes like just throwing in the towel and quitting, but that's also not okay. We do have to fit in a little R&R, a little rest and relaxation. Somehow or other, ladies, you have to figure out how to do that. Even if you're busy 24/7, you have to squeeze in some R&R. But that doesn't mean that you give up your duties. You have to stay, we have to stay conscientious about our feminine roles. Okay, it's 10 to 8. The greatest success in marriage occurs when husband and wife devotedly live their respective roles. The greatest problems occur when one steps over the boundaries, and this is interesting what she says, forcefully takes over the partner's role or shows an anxious concern for performance or lack of performance. So we have to be careful to not be, watching over our husband's shoulder to make sure he's doing things right. No, we have to step back and give him space, let him make his own mistakes and learn on his own how to be the best person he can be, the best husband he can be, the best father he can be, the best provider he can be. Okay, so to further succeed, we need to learn the feminine arts and skills, learn how to cook, clean, and manage a household. There are 3 masculine needs that Helen talks about. One is a man needs to function in his masculine role as the guide, protector, and provider. And she elaborates on that. First, he needs to function as the head of the family and to have his family honor and support him in this position. Second, no, so she's still talking about number 1 up above, but she's giving 3 points within that number 1 point. Second, he needs to succeed in earning the living, in meeting his family's essential needs, and to do so independently without the help of others. This is the highest standard for the man in his pursuit of earning a living. He should learn how to do it himself without depending on others. And third, he needs to serve as the protector, sheltering his family from harm, danger, or difficulty. Okay, now back to number 2 up above. He needs to feel needed in his masculine role. He needs to feel that his family needs him, really needs him, as their guide, protector, and provider. When a woman becomes capable of providing for herself, able to make her own way in the world, independent of her husband, she loses her need for him. This is a great loss to the husband. He can sense when a woman can kill her own snakes. If she's not dependent on him and helpless, or at least feigning helplessness, then he loses energy and he can actually become depressed. So we have to show our husband that we need him. Okay, number 3, he needs to excel women in his masculine role. A man is not usually aware of his need to excel women until a situation arises which threatens him, such as when a woman outsmarts him in his own field, or advances to a higher position, or brings home a bigger paycheck, or excels him in anything which requires masculine strength, skill, competence, or ability. Modern media and modern entertainment is full of this phenomenon of women outsmarting and outdoing men. We need to turn that around. We need to help our men to get their place back in society by giving them their place in the home. Okay, I have more highlighting that I did in this chapter, but just make sure if you didn't read this chapter yet that you do read it. It's a very good chapter and it's pretty short. It's not really long. So please read chapter 7. Okay, so for next week, we will read chapter 8, the leader. So please read the chapter. Let's meet again on December 26th. Okay, so we'll see each other then. This is kind of a long chapter, so you may need to reserve at least a couple of days or a few days of time for reading Fascinating Womanhood this week so that you can squeeze in that whole chapter, chapter 8. Okay, thank you everyone. Hare Krishna. Thank you for being here. And
Dandavat pranam Mataji, Hare Krishna.
मतलब हाँ 80 के 80 कस्टमर को रिप्लेस करके
if anyone has a question or a comment or a realization or something they added to their love booklet this week, please post it in Power of Inspiration